Okay, it's that time again, guys. It is review time, and in today's video, we're going to be reviewing Maven Prop Firm. Some people say it Marvin. I'm going to say Maven. But anyway, we're going to be reviewing Maven, and we are going to be giving our honest opinion, unbiased review. So before I do get stuck into this, I want to be very clear that I have no affiliation. We as a company have no affiliation to any of the companies we review. We're just giving our honest opinion, unbiased review for these companies because we get a lot of data through our community, because we have a massive community of people taking prop firms using our incredible EA called Titan X. In fact, we've got over 850 of our community funded to this point. But it's because of the number of people that we have in the community and the number of different prop firms that they are using, we get to see a lot of data come through, and it gives us the kind of data that we need to do these reviews. Yes, I dig in, and we have a few people digging further in to get more information to make the review more rounded. But this is basically why we do these reviews, just to give you the information so that you are choosing the correct prop firm for you. Okay, so we're going to be doing the review in the same way we have done all the reviews, where we're basically giving a mark out of 10 across 4 different categories. Those categories are going to be the challenge themselves, the actual rules, the regulations, and how difficult or not difficult it is actually to take these challenges. The next category we're going to look at is the company overview, the company as a whole, where they're situated, who owns it, all of that information, and we're going to give a rating based on that as well. And thirdly, we're going to be rating them on any unique perks or special features that they offer that maybe other prop firms do not. And lastly, we're going to be looking at the trading conditions, things like spread, the commissions, and how it is actually to trade on this challenge. Are you getting slipped a lot? All that kind of information, which I know a lot of you want to know. Okay, with that being said, guys, let's go straight into the first category, which is the challenge themselves, the rules and regulation, and everything around the challenge. So I'm just going to start by talking about the good, and then we'll talk about the bad, and then we'll give a rating. Okay, so this is the website. Nice website, easy to navigate, so no issues there. So let's go straight to the actual challenges. So you can take 2 different types of challenges with these guys. You get a 2-step and a 1-step. And then the first thing I am going to talk about is the price range. The price range is very, very good. So let's have a look at the 100K. We'll look at the 100K because that's kind of what we look at for most of the other prop firms. That's our kind of like our base. We base everything around the 100K challenge. Their price point is very, very good. $349 to take a 100K challenge, a 2-phase 100K is very, very good. So, the worry is it so low? But this is not a special. And from what I've seen, these guys are not doing crazy discounts all the time like you see, and like I mentioned, which is potentially a red flag. You see these guys doing crazy discounts all the time. They're not really doing that. I do see the odd discount coming up, but it's at times that you would expect there to be discounts. So as a price point, I think this is very attractive. $349, I think it's very, very good. And then I did want to actually say that the 2K challenge you can take for $15. So you can sign up for a 2K challenge, get $15, start really small, get a funded account, build your way up, go to the 5, 10, and you can actually build your way up that without really ever spending too much money. So that is very attractive. I like that. The next thing I do like is that they do allow traders from the US. They don't allow MT4 or MT5. So because of that, they are basically catering to traders from all over the world, including the States. If you're from the States, you have to use Match Trader. If you're international, you can use Match Trader or C Trader. So no MT4 or MT5. The next thing I like is the profit targets, 8% for phase 1 and 5% for phase 2. This is kind of your standards, your industry standard. So that's good. They are kind of sticking to what everyone else is doing. Some of them have actually gone a bit higher than that recently. I've seen a few prop firms going to the 10% again. So 8%, 5% is really good. Next thing is max trading days. You are infinite. There's no limit on your trading days. There's no minimum trading days. So, you can pass in a couple of days. So there's no real kind of issues with that. I like that as well. The next thing I do want to point out that I really like is the payout frequency. So you can get paid every 10 business days, which is really cool, which does mean that you can potentially get 2 payouts a month. The reason I say that, because some people say, but the other prop firms that offer every 2 weeks, you can get twice a month as well. Not necessarily, because most of the time there's always going to be some time where they are actually, looking into your account before you actually get a payout. And often it's like a week between you actually requesting a payout and the time you actually get it and your account is reset. So normally it's like maybe 5 weeks to actually get 2 payouts. But with this 10 days, you can get 2 payouts in a month. And I like that. And I've talked about that in the past. So very cool. The next thing is you can hold trades over the weekend. They've got this unique buyback feature, what I'm going to talk about later. That's in the next one of the later categories about their special features. What else have they got that I really like? So you can scale up to 1 million, which is very cool, which leads me into one of the negatives, which is you can only buy 100K at a time, which is kind of the low end. And you can also only hold a maximum of 200K, right? So once you've got 200K funded, that's the max allocation. You can't go higher than that, but they do then allow you to scale up to 1 million after that. So it's quite a lot lower than a lot of the other prop firms, but is that necessarily a bad thing? Now, when these guys first started, they actually had you could buy a 500K account. So, you know, that there's a big difference now from the 500K, and I think that was the max allocation, but now they've dropped down max allocation to 200. So I think maybe it's with everything that's happened in the prop firm, that's probably why they've made that decision. Then the other thing I don't really like is the drawdown. You only have an 8% total drawdown and a 4% daily. Now 4% and 8% is a little bit lower than your normal. Normally it's a 10% overall and a 5% daily, so it's a little bit lower. So, you know, that does make it a little bit harder to actually pass. And then the drawdown themselves is the overall drawdown. They go on a static drawdown, and the daily drawdown is equity based, which I don't like. You know, we've always talked about the equity based. I wish prop firms would stop doing this because it kind of is a way of them catching people out, you know, the equity based drawdown. I think, you know, prop firms should just do a balance based drawdown and just stick to that. So we don't generally like the equity. Now for the one phase, the 1-step challenge, they do say that they do a balance or equity, whichever is the highest. So whenever they say that it is equity based. So don't really like that. They do also have something to note, a consistency rule that I've seen a few people actually getting refused payouts because of. So worth checking in on that as well. And then they have a lot of the other usual things like IP restrictions and stuff like that. But obviously that's just to protect themselves. They don't want to have loads of people having, you know, trades copied from a community or whatever, and everyone having the same exact trades. That's understandable. I'm not going to hold that against them. Now, the other thing is leverage. Their leverage for the FX seems to be 75-1, and you know, that's kind of a little bit lower than the norm. Normally it's about 100-1. So that's another thing that is kind of on my not so good list. And then the other thing they do have, which is, I'm putting it on this list because I think a lot of people will not like it, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I understand why they're doing, and that is they have a $10,000 withdrawal cap for across. So what did they say? So you basically have a withdrawal cap of $10,000 for every 2 payout cycles. So for every 2 payout cycles, you cannot withdraw more than $10,000. And even if you had more than $10,000 in your account profit, after you withdraw that 10,000, your account resets. So you would essentially lose what is in the account. And I know a lot of people won't like that, but I kind of understand why they're doing it. Like I said, with everything that has happened in the prop firm industry, these guys are having to try to think different things. So this just kind of protects them in terms of like they don't have to pay huge, you know, do these huge payouts, which, you know, to me, maybe it will detract a little bit from people signing up. Some people might like that, you know, because like me, I'm only looking for 2.5% per cycle. So I'd probably never be withdrawing more than 5,000 per account. So I'd be around the 10,000 if I had two accounts. But I did actually speak to their support, and they said once you start the scaling plan, as you scale higher, that amount will scale with your account. So you will be able to withdraw more as you scale higher. So that is important that it's, you know, because I basically was thinking if you got to the million and you can still only withdraw $10,000, then there's no point in scaling. But they did say that that amount does scale as your account scales. So that's it, guys. There's nothing else. You know, very basic. They seem to be following a similar sort of thing to most of the prop firms. They're kind of like, I would say, industry standard. Their challenges seem to be okay, you know, maybe a little bit harder than some. So overall, I'm going to give these guys an 8 out of 10 for their challenge. I think they've kept it simple. They've kind of simplified things. You know, it's not too complicated. They've only got 2 different types of challenges. It is what it is. They're keeping it nice and simple, and I like that. So I'm going to go for an 8 out of 10 for their challenge. All right, so now let's have a look at the company overview, guys. So these guys were established back in 2022. So only been running for a couple of years now, 2.5 years now, not even, coming up to 2 years actually. So still fairly young in the industry, which, you know, I think we got to take into account. They seem to be based out of Canada, and their CEO is someone who goes by the name of Chris Hunter, who actually was a YouTuber, or still is a YouTuber, but that was kind of his background. He was a trading YouTuber. I think the channel was called Hunter FX, but now he seems to have rebranded his YouTube channel around the Maven brand. I'll show you that now quickly. So this is now his channel. It's called Hunter Maven Trading CEO. This channel, I think, used to be Hunter FX. I'm not sure if he created a new channel, but looking at the subscriber count, maybe this is his channel that he's brought over. I'm not sure, but this seems to be, you know, he's kind of like rebranded around the Maven, which kind of makes sense. And then this is his Instagram. Now, generally, you know, we do talk about this as being a red flag where you have these content creators kind of coming over and creating their own prop firm companies. We've seen in the last, you know, 6 to 8 months, things have not gone well for a lot of these guys, a lot of the content creators that have created prop firms. And this is where a lot of the issues have been. These guys kind of like go into it for the wrong reason. They go in for the money. It's all about the money, and things don't go well and they end up going bankrupt and they end up closing, which we've seen a lot of recently. So generally speaking, it is a red flag when you see these guys going in, but you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is bad. You know, I think it does depend on the person. I don't know. I used to watch this guy a lot. Some people liked him, some people didn't like him. He had quite an aggressive approach. He was quite, you know, he kind of like said what he felt. He'd never really held back, which I kind of liked. I kind of liked that, you know, he didn't beat around the bush. So maybe because he's that kind of person, you know, running a company like this, he's kind of like he's built for that. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. So they've got good reviews. If we have a look at their reviews, currently on 1,413 reviews, and they're around the 4.6 rating. So I think that's very decent. It's only 1 stars. They've got about a 5% 1-star rating. We're going to be looking at some of the 1 stars when we go and talk about the trading conditions, because that's what a lot of the 1 stars seem to be around. So it's something we will talk about. But overall, their reviews are very good. They've got a 4.6 on here. So, and then the other thing I did want to point out is the actual support. I have contacted these guys a few times in the last couple of days, as you can see, and every single time they responded within like a minute. So their support is very, very good. And even on the Trustpilot, I do see that they do answer the reviews, even the bad reviews, the good reviews. They are kind of responding to people. So, you know, from that point of view, that is very good. I like the fact that they are responding. So for their company overview, I am going to give them a 7 out of 10. I'm kind of like pulling back a little bit just because of they've not been around that long. They've made a lot of big changes, which, you know, maybe is for the best, but that's, you know, it's a bit worrying when they're constantly changing things. They did start with bigger accounts and now they've gone down. Like I said, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but then the other thing is the whole red flag of a content creator, a YouTuber kind of jumping over and opening up like a white label company. So, you know, I think 7 out of 10 is a very fair mark out of 10 for the company overview. They seem to be doing okay with everything. Their support is very good. Their reviews are very good, and they seem to be responding to everyone, which is good. So 7 out of 10 is my company overview. I'm going to stick to that. We'll do another review in maybe 6 months or so, and we'll see if it's still the same. All right, the next thing we're going to be looking at, guys, is unique perks and special features. So they actually have a section here where they specifically talk about their unique perks and features. Withdrawal frequency, I mentioned that every 10 days. That is very cool. So that is quite unique. You don't see many having that. There are a few more now coming in with daily. I've seen daily and I've seen weekly. So they are better than that. But but still 10 every 10 days is pretty good, as long as they stick to that and you're not waiting too long. They have this very interesting buyback feature, which means that if you are in a funded account and you hit your daily or your maximum drawdown, you get to pay 60% of whatever that drawdown is. So for example, 60% of the 5% daily limit, you pay that and you basically get to buy back into your account. Now, I'm not sure if you can do this multiple times or you have a one-off, but that's quite a cool feature. I like that. And it's kind of like a win-win, because they getting money for something that they didn't lose money. I mean, let's be honest, it's a demo account. It's a simulated environment. They are not actually losing the 5% that you lose, but they're getting to make money because of that. So, and you're getting to get your account back. So you don't have to go through the whole challenge again. I like that. I think that's a very cool feature. So that's very cool. Unlimited time. That's not really unique. I wouldn't say that's unique. Scaling, others have scaling, so not particularly unique. So I'm not really going to give them any points on that. And then they say merging accounts. That's not really unique. So I would say the withdrawal frequency, the buyback feature, those are unique, and those are very cool features. So, I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10 for their unique and special features. Right, finally, let's go to the trading conditions, because I know you guys want to all see this. So trading conditions, leverage, we'll talk about leverage, although it's not really conditions. 75-1 for Forex, 20-1 for commodities, digital ETFs, 2-1, and then indices is 20-1, sorry. And then the instruments I can trade, we're not going to go over that. This is what we want to look at. So commissions, like I said, is $4 round trip, which is okay. It's not too bad. Commissions are kind of reasonable. Commissions on cryptos, indices, and commodities is 0. So that is very good. If you are trading those, there's 0 commissions. Now they say all pairs have close to raw spread. I'm going to have a look at that. I don't think that's necessarily true. 0 swap fees across all accounts. So swap fees is good. So which means you can hold trades over the weekend and overnight, and they're not going to charge you for that, which is good. So now let's have a look at the actual spread. So they actually give you the access. You can access these demo accounts, which gives you an idea of their spread. All right, so let's have a look at their spreads over here, guys. So Euro USD, you can see we are looking at an average of 5, 4. Here you can see the actual buy and sell. So this is the spread right here. So you can actually see it on the chart there. And I would say that is average. We are now kind of, for me, it's midday. So, you should be seeing a normal amount of spread. I haven't really had a look at this, times where spread does increase, but I think you've got to be aware of when you're trading as well. So spreads, Euro USD around 4 to 8. GBP USD, I'm seeing around 8. Let's have a look at some of the others. Let's look at some other accounts just so we can see. Yeah, Euro USD. So you can see across the board here, guys, it's, anywhere from about 4 to 10 is your spread there. So USD CAD maybe slightly higher. That is a daily. Let's go to the 1 minute. So there you can see your spread a little bit bigger there. So, there is some spread. It's not, they do make it sound like they don't really have any spread, but there is some spread to take into account, especially if you're trading on the lower time frames. There is a little bit of spread there. So this gives you an idea of the spread, and you can log in yourself. How do you get the access to this? So if you go to this propfirmmatch.com and you go to the Maven account, at the bottom here you can see demo accounts. So you can actually log in through their C Trader platform and their Match Trade platform. So make sure you check it out for yourself. It's really handy that they give you access to this so you can get an idea of what their spread is like. So spread is okay. I would say, overall their trading conditions. One of the things I do want to actually talk about quickly here is if you look at some of their 1-star reviews, it is actually specifically talking about. So I had a problem with their spread. Also some open trading gold, blah, 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 blah. So things were like, some discrepancies when it comes to price, spread, and also, some slippage happening. And I see this a few times. It's talked about a few times in the 1-star. So there was a few things where, they kind of saying people did things that they didn't, denying funded accounts because of that. They have the worst spreads I've seen in the industry. So, slippage is even worse. So there is something to look at here. These might be just isolated cases where, unfortunately, sometimes it does happen. It's not that I can actually say these guys are doing this purposefully. It might just be a case of, when these guys were trading or whatever. So there is a lot of kind of moaning around the trade conditions. So for that reason, I'm going to, and also just look looking at it myself, you know, it's a little bit higher than you would expect. This seems to be okay. It seems to be manageable, but you know, you do have it going up and down, and I've not kind of looked at this for long enough to see any signs of slippage. I'm sure there is going to be some slippage. So for me, I'm going to give the trading conditions a 6.5 out of 10, just because a lot of the ratings, the lower end ratings are talking specifically about the trading conditions. So I'm going to give a 6.5 out of 10 for that. So those are my scores across the board, guys. I've given you my results, my scores on everything. I think overall Maven is a pretty good company to go with. It's worth trying. I would love to hear your guys' opinions about Maven. Have you guys traded with them? What do you guys think? Do you recommend them? Do you like them? Your guys' feedback is always really handy to get this, especially for a company like us that does do reviews. You know, we can always do a review later on and say we've actually had a lot of people contacting and actually this, that, and the other. So very cool to hear from you guys. I did also want to before I finish, want to let you know that we also have, like I've spoken about in the beginning of the video, an incredible EA called Titan X that is currently getting a lot of our community funded. We've actually got over 850 of our community funded using this, and it's even got better. We have something now that's called a hedge bot, which essentially means that even when you're taking these challenges, and even if you do lose, because it does lose from time to time, you are actually making your money back. So you essentially will never lose your money to prop firms, which is an incredible new feature. So make sure you go to www.propfarming.com to have a look at the demo and get all the information about this incredible product. And we hope to see you guys in the community soon. With that being said, guys, I'm going to leave it there. That's Maven Trading, and I will see you guys in the next review video. Goodbye.